For a businessman of your sort, what do you think about doing business in Ghana?
Well, first of all, business is one thing of its own, and a country is one thing on its own. And whenever you want to bring the two together, you have to respect the regulations, the conditions, the rules for business, and then the country on its own. You have to respect its culture and tradition. That tells you the mindset of people. Well, for every businessman that is successful, should simply know how to add value to people.
Right.
And to be able to add value to people, you need to understand their mindsets. So first of all, the answer to your question is to relate your business to the culture of the country, which is very important. This is something that I did. I understand the mindset of Ghanaians. I understand the mindset of Africans. I even understand the mindset of the experts who are coming in. So this is more relative to the concept of the business that I do. And I think it's one of the engines, or my secret engines, that makes everything moves a bit faster.
Yeah. Now, people talk about the bureaucracy in the system. For instance, if you set out to register your business, you're either going to oil somebody's hand or you have to wait for a long time. Do you get frustrated by the system for an experienced businessman like you?
I do. I mean, but I don't let such things bring me down because whatever you set your mind to, you have to find a way to execute it. Now, but if you don't, then you become the loser. But then if you do execute it or overcome whatever challenges, it makes you a winner. For us as businessmen or entrepreneurs, our biggest boss is to win. In every venture that we go closer or every step that we take, we just want to be a winner. You know, that's like gambling. You know, you go in and you come back out as a winner. And so even though we have these consequences and all these issues of backdoor business before you penetrate or before any doors are open for you, I find a way to let it positively inspire me and motivate me that what if I can find a better way not to be trapped by one of these consequences, but a better way to be able to slip through and come out successful.
Okay. But do you think it's something that can change? I mean, you have found a way around it, but you still find people complaining that the system is wearing them out, and it is also giving rise to corruption. Do you think it's something we can change, since you talked about mindset?
I think so, but I don't think the people who are committing such crimes are the ones who have to change the system. It's rather the people who are complaining and blaming are the ones who have to do something about it. See, I believe that we need to change what is inside us. If we want to develop our country as Ghana, then first of all, we need to develop ourselves from inside. I'll tell you a joke. So I was driving with my family, my wife and my 3 kids, in somewhere in California, very nice area. And we had ice cream and we were eating something else in the car. And I think one of my kids dropped something, like a rubber or something on the floor. Then this guy driving his car pulled up, a white guy. He got out of his car. He didn't say anything to us. He picked the rubber and walked across the street and went to put it in the bin. You know what? For like 5 seconds, I didn't know what to say, whether to get out of my car and say, oh, I'm sorry, or I just didn't know what to say, but I kept my cool, and I also swallowed whatever disgrace and said, wow, this guy is passionate about his country, he's passionate about his environment, the look of the place. You know, he is worried about what has been built should be kept that way for the next centuries.
Right.
And I feel like this is how we Africans should start to feel before people will start calling us all sort of names all over the world. You know, we need to start to clean up. We need to be proud of what God has given us as a country, as a continent, that we have all the resources, we have all the commodities, we have everything the world needs. So how come we're still struggling? How come we are corrupt? How come, you know, there's all the negatives and minuses? I think it's all based on us. to make a change.
Okay, so it takes me to a question that I had in mind for you, since you talked about the perceptions people have about Africa. Because recently, the US president made some very disparaging remarks about Africa. And a lot of Africans were outraged by his comments. There was a backlash for him and, calls on him to apologize. On the other hand, you have people saying that he was right. Because if you come to Africa and in 2018, women are dying because they cannot get a bed to deliver on in a hospital, then his comments were right or justified. What do you think?
Well, personally, I wouldn't say his comments were right. The beginning of success starts from fearing the Lord. However, the world is God's creation. It's not our creation. So right. I wouldn't be able to have that will, that power to call a continent such a name. I feel like it's completely wrong to label a continent, with such a label. But at the same time, I feel like these words should motivate us, should inspire us to let us turn whatever names they're calling us to paradise. These are the things.
How do we do that?
Well, first of all, if you didn't like how your mom looked and you didn't like how you look, you start by doing something about how you look first. Change your looks. And when you change your looks, it might affect your mom. Your mom might even feel like, wow, was it that easy? So we start to change ourselves by starting from us, making sure that our habits, our self-built character, our attitude, our perception, our vision, our ambition is channeled in a positive way. I'll give you a good example. When you are to describe the average Ghanaian, he's very kind, very jealous, and very peaceful. Now, I'll explain it further so you understand. You might walk into someone's house. They will offer you a bottle of water, kindly offer you a bottle of water. But as soon as you get up going on your way out, he could say, look at this one. He's so broke now. He can't even afford for water. Yeah. And if you heard this person and say, Akosia, did you say this about me? He would say, I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's move on. He'll make peace with you. Now, these three things doesn't move us forward. When you go to a place like Nigeria, which is a neighboring country, these people are very aggressive and confident. See, that's their culture. It's so fast for a Ghanaian that they don't even understand what is happening. My problem is, why does Africa as a continent is adopting 800 and something cultures? Why can't it be one traditional culture? And why are people adopting attitudes that make us sincerely dubious with a humanitarian character? Why are you shielding yourself? What is there that you're hiding that you can't bring out that will add value to someone else's life? And the worst of it all, I really think that we need to start adding value to our own people. Especially in Ghana. Ghana is about time they start to embrace success. They start to embrace wisdom, respect and dignity, integrity. We don't easily become who we are overnight. There is nothing such as luck. Chances come for the prepared mind. And when you see one that has a prepared mind, you need to learn to appreciate them. Because I don't see that person who is behind some organization that have to blame somebody first before they get paid. Somebody that have to put someone in trouble, because when there's trouble, that's when some people get paid. I'm asking myself this question. How is his grandson going to get paid? Right. How is his child going to get paid? 200 years from now, what if people don't live by the corrupt ways anymore? What is going to happen? So it's about time that we really start to appreciate things. My success probably came from me appreciating the greatest people in this world. And not only that, but I also started correcting myself from the greatest people's greatest mistakes. Not my own mistakes. Yes, I do correct myself from my own mistakes. But I look at some great people in this world and how they messed up. So growing up, my mentor was Solomon. And this guy has been the greatest guy for me of all time, because he's been the most wealthiest person and the wisest person that ever lived on this planet. But his lots of mistake sort of ripped his empire apart. And that's where my fascination came from. I wanted to find out what really torn this man apart, and I learned from it. And so we, as Ghanaians especially, I will start with Ghana, but this is more to Africa and the entire continent, that we need to start to respect the value of who we are. There is tribalism, there are other things in the country that it's just holding us back